146. Los Angeles, crates of bricks were left at a bus stop on Ventura Boulevard. 147 leftist rioters beat up a cop. 148 The city's Democrat Mayor Eric Garcetti moved to cut funding for the police department by $150 million, implicitly declaring his support for the Antifa rioters. 149. Redlands, California, Amazon warehouse was burned down. Baltimore, law enforcement officials found mounds of bricks and bottles that had been staged in downtown Baltimore. 150. Fayetteville, North Carolina, stacks of bricks found. 151. 152. Chicago, white rioters assaulted a policewoman. 153 Democrat Mayor Lori Lightfoot acknowledged an organized effort. Chicago Business reported Lightfoot as saying, "There is no doubt. This was an organized effort last night," she said. "There were clearly efforts to subvert the peaceful process and make it into something violent." 154. St. Petersburg, Florida, Tampa Bay Times reported, officers at about 12:16 a.m. found a container of gasoline, bricks, and materials used to assemble crude incendiary devices commonly known as a Molotov cocktail inside a red Mitsubishi Outlander parked on Central Avenue, near the police department at 1301 First Avenue North, according to arrest reports. 155. Progressives looted expensive stores on Hollywood's fashionable Rodeo Drive. Seattle, DSA provided logistical support. Seattle's Democrat-dominated city council openly aids and abets Antifa rioters and seeks to handicap the Seattle Police Department by filing legislation to ban police use of chemical and crowd control weapons against the rioters. 156. Antifa rioters, acting on Seattle City Council's unwillingness to do anything to stop their lawless behavior. 157 Illegally seized control of a number of blocks in the Capitol Hill area of the city. 158 159 Forced the Seattle Police Department to surrender the area's precinct 160 and declared it an autonomous zone, under the rule of a self-proclaimed warlord, a local rapper and black activist named Raz Simone. 161 Then issued a lengthy list of demands, including the abolition of the Seattle Police, amnesty for Antifa members, and free healthcare and college. 162 163 And basically holding the area's residents hostage. The liberal media colluded to declare a blackout on any reporting of the Antifa-seized area of Capitol Hill. 164 While Washington Democrat Governor Jay Inslee feigned ignorance in claiming that the illegal seizure of parts of Capitol Hill was news to him, 165 And Seattle's openly lesbian Democrat Mayor Jenny Durkan likewise displayed her detachment from reality as she cluelessly claimed that the Antifa-seized parts of Capitol Hill were not a lawless wasteland of anarchist insurrection. 166 Claiming the opposite of what was actually happening in the area. At left, BLM terrorist fires into a car in Provo, Utah. At right with his back to the camera is John Sullivan, organizer of the January 6, 2021 Capitol Hill riot. 167 168 In response to the Antifa lawlessness in Seattle, Donald Trump threatened to send the military in to free the city from the criminal terrorist group if Inslee and Durkan refused to do anything to stop them. 169 Inslee 170 and Durkan 171 responded to Trump with open and childish defiance. 172 telling the president in effect to mind his own business, while basically declaring their total support for the criminals holding the Capitol Hill area captive. Within days of the seizure, things fell apart for the rioters as they ran out of food. Simone and his gang of thugs, who, in true communist/fascist form, were acting as the seized area's self-styled People's Police, came under heavy criticism for their vicious and unprovoked attacks on area residents they deemed suspicious. 161 An attempted extortion of area businesses and residents. 173 174 And Simone himself was outed as a misogynist and sex slaver. 161 And Seattle police took back control of the Capitol Hill precinct they had previously been forced to vacate. 175 A number of Antifa punks viciously attacked and sexually assaulted a street preacher who attempted to enter the occupied area. 176 With the assault ending when a Black Lives Matter activist intervened and freed the preacher. After shootings in the occupied zone that left 2 teenagers dead and 3 other people injured, along with various other crimes committed by the rioters, Durkan finally took action and ordered the dismantling of the illegal occupation. 177 To date, Dozens of the rioters have been arrested by Seattle police for refusing to leave the area and other crimes 178-179 while some defiant Antifa rioters unsuccessfully attempted to rebuild barricades that were bulldozed by city workers 180. Durkan has also called for the investigation and possible expulsion of far-left city councillor Kshama Sawant 181 who led Antifa and BLM rioters to Durkan's home to agitate against her, and had previously unlocked the doors to Seattle City Hall, despite its closure due to the CCP flu pandemic, to allow hundreds of rioters inside to stage a sit-in 182. Northern California, 70 looters descended upon a car dealership simultaneously and stole 70 vehicles 183. Davenport, Iowa, Democrat protester murdered another protester 184. Columbus, Ohio, police seized a bus supplying riot equipment, bats, rocks, meat cleavers, axes, clubs, and other projectiles 185. North Carolina, a white rioter stupidly lit himself on fire attempting to burn down a museum 186. White Antifa rioters destroyed Grand Rapids, Michigan 187. Philadelphia, white Antifa rioters hijack protests again 188. Buffalo, New York, progressives run over a police officer 189. Portland, man carrying American flag was beaten by white Antifa terrorists while Portland police, acting in dereliction of their duty, refused to help the man 190. Richmond, leftist rioters torched a home with children inside and then blocked the fire department 191. Louisville, 7 people shot during rioting in that city 192. Toronto, Antifa declares class war against decent society 193. Sydney, Australia, Antifa riots 194. Berlin, Germany, Antifa's parent organization, Die Linke remnant of the former East Germany's Communist Socialist Unity Party and its secret police the Stasi 195 organizes protests. 196. London, Antifa riots 197. Islamic State, celebrated the progressive riots 198. Beijing, Chinese Foreign Ministry and state media expressed sympathy and support for the communist uprising. New York City, Democrat Mayor Bill de Blasio, whose daughter openly declared her support for Antifa and was among those arrested in the city during the riots, retaliates by threatening to cut funding for the NYPD, effectively also implying his open support for the Antifa rioters and their general and anti-police criminal activity 199. This controversy, coupled with his gross incompetence in his mishandling of the CCP flu pandemic locally, has led to calls for de Blasio to resign as mayor. BLM terrorist James Edward Marshall IV, an attorney, shot an innocent pickup driver at a stoplight in Alamosa, Colorado. 200. Minneapolis, Democrat-dominated city council declares its open support for Black Lives Matter racists and announces its intent to abolish the Minneapolis Police Department. 201 then followed through on their threat soon after by announcing that a vote would be held to abolish the local police. 202 Anti-police animus is catching on among like-minded corrupt Democrat politicians across the country who similarly wish to abolish local police departments in their cities, even though such attitudes have come under heavy criticism from the general public, who have correctly pointed out that eliminating the police in Democrat-ruled cities would effectively be rewarding bad behavior by the young rioters and an open invitation to anarchy by leftist criminals. White House spokeswoman Kylie McEnany subsequently denounced the Minneapolis City Council and other Democrat politicians, including squad members Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Rashida Tlaib, who support defunding/abolishing local police departments, calling what they demand lunacy and pointing out that President Trump was also appalled by what the leftist politicians are demanding in their open support for criminals and crime. 203-204